Today we're going to break down a story that's part folklore, part modern cautionary tale. It's all about a guy who was so desperate for success, he made a deal with the literal demon. And it really makes you think about the true cost of getting everything you've ever wished for.
So let me ask you, what price would you pay? It's a heavy question, right? Well, for the guy in our story today, the answer was terrifyingly simple. He'd pay, well, everything. And his story starts where a lot of dark stories do, from a place of total, crushing desperation.
So let's meet our guy. His name is Suryakant. And his story, well, it doesn't start with power. It starts with the complete opposite. I want you to just picture this for a second. You're a waiter at a super fancy hotel. You're surrounded by all this glittering wealth. You serve it, you clean up after it, but you can never, ever have it. That was Suryakant's life. Every single day, he'd see these polished cars and champagne flutes, and it was just this constant, brutal reminder of everything he didn't have. And that envy, man, it just started to fester inside him like a poison, pushing him somewhere really, really dark.
5 lakh rupees. That's the number. That's the number that basically sealed his fate. It was a massive gambling debt, and he owed it to a loan shark who was not the forgiving type. I mean, on a waiter's salary, that's an impossible amount of money. The clock wasn't just ticking anymore. It was about to go off.
And right here, this is the moment where simple desperation just explodes into pure terror. See, the threat wasn't even against Suryakant. It was against his girlfriend, Natasha, the one person he loved more than anything. The loan shark, Nagpal, he knew exactly where to twist the knife. All of a sudden, this wasn't about money. It was about life and death. So he's pushed to the absolute edge, right? And what does he do? Does he look for another loan? Get a second job? No. He looks for a shortcut. A really, really dangerous one, hidden away in the pages of some dark, ancient book. Can you imagine? He's in some dusty old library, and he finds it, this book. And it doesn't just promise a way out of debt, it promises unimaginable wealth. But the price, oh man, the price was insane. He would have to summon a powerful spirit, a supernatural being called a Yakshini. And with his back completely against the wall, he decided, okay, I'll gamble with my soul.
Okay, so just look at what this ritual involved. This wasn't, just saying a few words. This was a 41-night ordeal. And he had to do it in a cremation ground, a place most of us wouldn't go near in broad daylight, let alone at night. He had to be totally naked, make these weird, disturbing offerings, a black rooster, wine. It was intense, and he had to be completely vulnerable, with every single step being absolutely perfect.
So for 40 straight nights, he's going through absolute hell, both physically and mentally. I mean, he was so close to just giving up. But on that very last night, the 41st night, he finishes the chant, and suddenly the air gets thick. A blinding light just floods the entire cremation ground, and she appeared. She was there.
So he did it. He actually succeeded. The spirit is standing right in front of him. But, summoning her, that was the easy part. Making the deal, that was something else entirely. And let me tell you, the terms of this deal were way more terrifying than the ritual ever was. The deal she offered was, well, it was as clear as it was demonic. On one hand, he gets everything he ever wanted. I'm talking limitless wealth, factories, fancy cars, the whole shebang. But on the other hand, the price. He had to basically become her property. She demanded to be his wife in every single way. He'd have to perform rituals for her every night, raw meat and wine, and his life would belong only to her. Her final warning was no other women, and you can bet she wasn't kidding.
And at first, it was incredible. His debt? Gone. He suddenly had mansions, factories, all the stuff he'd been dreaming about. But that dream really quickly turned into a nightmare. It was like living in a golden cage. He was completely alone. Any woman who even got a little too close to him would just mysteriously die. And in the middle of all that luxury, all he felt was this deep, gnawing emptiness. He started missing his old, simple life with Natasha.
He's so miserable at this point that he starts pushing the Yakshini away. He starts refusing her, her wifely demands. And this was a huge mistake. Just to remind him who was really in charge, she flexed her power. His biggest factory, the one that was the symbol of all his new success, just burned to the ground overnight. Poof, gone.
But that factory, that was just a warning shot. He panics.
He finally realizes the true danger he's in, and he runs to the only person he actually cares about, Natasha. But he was too late. He finds her in her room, dead. And standing right there in the corner, just watching him with these cold, dead eyes, was the Yakshini. She had just collected the final, ultimate price for his wish.
I mean, this just shattered him. Completely. All that money meant nothing now. The woman he basically sold his soul for was gone. And at that point, his goal changed. He didn't want riches anymore. All he wanted was a way out.
And he lost it all. The businesses just fell apart. He ends up homeless, back on the streets, but this time he's being haunted by this possessive demon. Then he remembers the book. Maybe there's a way to reverse this. But when he sneaks back to his burnt-out mansion to find it, the Yakshini sets another fire, and the book, his very last shred of hope, just turns to ash.
So you're probably wondering, what is this thing that's haunting him? Well, by a stroke of luck, he runs into a paranormal expert who finally gives him some answers. And it turns out, a Yakshini isn't necessarily evil. It's a type of powerful nature spirit. They can be good, like guardians of treasure, or they can be, well, like what he got, a jealous, destructive, ghost-like being. It all comes down to why and how you summon them.
So this expert, Akanksha, she can't help him herself, but she knows someone who might be able to. She tells him about this wise old hermit, a Baba, who lives way out in the forest. And this Baba, he's supposedly done the ritual himself and knows how to deal with the Yakshini. For Suryakant, this is it. This is his one last shot at freedom.
And this is where it all clicks. The Baba lays it all out for him. He reveals the massive fatal mistake Suryakant made. And it was all because of his selfish greed. See, he summoned the Yakshini as a lover, a primika, and that trapped them both in this possessive, jealous, awful pact. The right way, the safe way, was to summon her as a mother, a mata, a kind protector who would have just granted his wish and left him in peace.
So, okay. He knows what he did wrong. He knows how to fix it. The path to freedom is clear. But walking it is going to be the hardest thing he's ever done.
The only way to get free was to go right back to the beginning. He had to do the whole 41-day ritual all over again. But this time, his intention had to be totally pure, to summon her as a mother. But think about it. The lover Yakshini he's already bound to isn't just going to let him go. She's going to be there every single night, fighting him, tormenting him, doing everything she can to stop him and keep him for herself.
And man, he went through absolute hell. The lover Yakshini clawed at him, screamed in his ears, tempted him with visions of wealth and power. But the memory of Natasha, of what he lost, kept him going. He held on, and on that final 41st night, he did it. The mother form appeared, she granted him his one wish, to be free. And just like that, the lover was gone, banished forever.
But here's the brutal, final twist. He's free. He won. But what does he have to show for it? Absolutely nothing. The money, the factories, all of it vanished. He was right back where he started, a waiter in a uniform with nothing to his name. Except now he wasn't haunted by a demon anymore. He was haunted by the memory of everything and everyone he'd lost along the way.
So in the end, Suryakant's story is just this chilling warning about taking shortcuts. That desperate need for wealth without putting in the work, it led him down a path where the real price tag on his dream was everything he actually cared about. He learned his lesson, for sure, but it was a lesson he had to learn through fire.